whatever so-called experts are telling you to worry about the new changes, do not panic. Previously, you lost 40% of your score because you didn't meet the maximum requirement.
Yeah.
Now you'll only be losing 15% of your score if you don't meet the maximum requirement and you're just below the max. So taking these statistics into consideration, we can clearly see that the new changes is not something to panic about. Good news for those students who have already taken classes of retail lecture recently. The trainings remain the same. So even after August 7th, you will be following the same strategies exactly as it is. He devised this innovative note-taking strategy.
Yes.
Now, I know we've been teaching note-taking for other topics like retail lecture before, but this one specifically is designed in such a way that each sections of the note-taking strategy that we follow in our paper is going to feed into the template very seamlessly. There are 3 main takeaways from our discussion today. The first takeaway: apart from the introduction of the 2 new topics, the strategies and the importance of the remaining topics still remain the same. Whatever questions were important before, they are still as important after August 7th. Hi everyone, my name is Pemba, and today I'm here with my friend Bhawani. Now this video is for those students who are currently enrolled with us, PTE Study Centre, and those who are willing to book for the test after the August 7th, 2025. Why so? Because as you probably already know, there will be some major changes happening in the PTE academic test after the August 7th. So we decided that we would make a video to help those students understand what the changes are going to be and how you can address them. Now, Bhawani, let's start by discussing some of the major changes starting from the very beginning.
Yes.
So I would start by saying that the number of questions has definitely changed.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Back then, the minimum number of questions you used to get was 52.
Yeah.
Now it has increased to 65. So the number of questions, minimum number of questions that you get has definitely changed. Now let's start with the very beginning and the first topic.
Question.
Let's read aloud.
So what do you think about this new change in read aloud, Pemba? How do you view it, of course?
Okay, so I would say that I know there's a lot of panic going on amongst the students about the changes happening.
Because
the fact
people
that
usually like read aloud.
Yeah, now it used to be considered as an easier way to get the score in reading, but I would say that wasn't necessarily the case.
Yeah.
Because after read aloud, reading, writing, fill in the blanks was still very important for the reading module, and it still remains the same. Now, read aloud,
Absolutely.
I know it doesn't contribute to reading anymore, but still is significant to speaking. And the strategies, the content scoring, the pronunciation or fluency scoring, they remain the same. So our trainings remain the same for read aloud. We will still be focusing on reading, writing, fill in the blanks for the reading. Now,
in the same exact way.
Yeah, same the exact same way. Now, for those who struggle with read aloud, back then they used to be worried about the reading score not being up to the mark because their performance in read aloud wasn't so good.
Yeah.
So I think it's a relief for many students out there who are struggling with read aloud, and if they're worried about the score in reading, if you do well in fill in the blanks, of course you're going to get the score. So our strategies basically they remain the same. It's just the score distribution when it comes to read aloud. Yeah. So to sum up, I would say the fact that read aloud will only contribute to speaking, not reading anymore, is more of a relief than a worry. Because previously, if you did well in fill in the blanks, if you mastered the reading comprehension in fill in the blanks and reading, writing, fill in the blanks, you still had to worry about read aloud in order to get the score in reading. Now that's not the case anymore. So you don't have to be relying on topics like read aloud, which is in speaking, to get the score in reading anymore. Once you've mastered fill in the blanks in reading, you're good to go.
All you have
that's all you need. So I would say it's more of a relief than a worry. So
absolutely, I think can't agree with you more on that. Yes.
So another change that has happened in this speaking module is with regards to describe image. Now, for describe image, you used to get around 3 or 4 questions before. Now we get 5 or 6 of them.
Questions,
The content scoring range has also changed slightly. So the scoring range used to be 0 to 5. Now the maximum score has slightly increased to 0 to 6.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of panic going on over the internet. I see so many students panicking about the fact that the number of questions for describe image has increased.
Yeah.
So do you think, would you consider this a reason to worry about?
Well, maybe from the look of it, it might feel like it's going to be hard, because previously you only had to maybe perform well in 3. Now you have to do well in another 2. So it feels like it's an added bummer. So, but if you, on an average, if you perform well in 3 and then maybe perhaps 1 doesn't go as you plan or just slightly off, it wouldn't be a huge problem, I would say, because according to by statistical anomaly, it wouldn't be considered, I think. So if your score on an average, or like majority of the questions went well, so maybe not worried too much about 1 going wrong. So I don't think it's not going to be like a huge deal.
Yes, that's true. And as long as you're following the strategies properly, describing the content properly,
and you prepare properly. Of course,
prepare properly. And if you have been following the same strategies that we've been suggesting, like even if you get 10 questions, I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to nail it with describe image.
Can't agree with you more. So the next question that we're going to discuss with regards to the changes is retail lecture. Well, nothing significant has changed. It's just the number of questions that has increased from previously being 1 to 2, and now it's 2 to 3. So it's just a number of questions. The strategy would of course remain the same. Just because the number of questions would go up doesn't mean the strategy has to change. It remains as legit and solid as it was previously. So it's the same one, but you apply to more questions than you did before.
Yes.
So I think it's not going to be a huge deal.
Yes, that's true. I completely agree with you. With retail lecture, our trainings remain the same. So good news for those students who have already taken classes of retail lecture recently. The trainings remain the same. So even after August 7th, you will be following the same strategies exactly as it is. And honestly speaking, Bhawani, apart from the number of questions in the slides and the content scoring, I haven't changed anything. The slides remain the same for the lecture. So thank God I don't have to change anything in my slides. Okay, Bhawani, so another question that has seen some changes that actually I think might go unnoticed is answer short question. So the number of questions remain the same, but the score contribution has changed.
Yes.
So previously answer short question only contributed, it contributed to both listening and speaking, but from now onwards, it will contribute to listening only. And I think it makes very much sense because you're not providing a long spoken response anyway. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's sort of logical that there's nothing speaking about it as long as you understood the question and gave an answer. So yeah, it only makes sense to assess listening in the question, I think. Yeah, so
that's true.
So very straightforward kind of. But after answer short question comes the more significant change in PTE exam after 7th. The new question is summarized group discussion, where you'd hear a discussion for about 3 minutes of 3 speakers, and you'd have to summarize it in a proper way. You'd have to speak for 2 minutes or so, right? What is your take on it?
Well, to be honest, I was probably more petrified than the students about this topic in the very beginning. But today we had a very long training session with our CEO, Ribat, and all credit goes to him. We have devised very innovative note-taking strategy. He's simply laid out all of the plans and strategies for us, and I feel so much more confident about teaching this topic, which we actually be starting from next week, the last week of this month. So
I think it's a quite solid strategy.
Now, because the strategy is so solid and the note-taking strategy is also very innovative, so I'm really excited to be conducting the lecture classes as well. And I'm 100% certain that it's going to help a lot of students out there. So I'm excited. I hope you are too.
PTE Study Centre students,
Yes, they are.
So Pemba, would you be able to share some of the strategy that Ribat devised, of course?
Sure, you put me on the spotlight, Bhawani, but our marketing team definitely instructed us not to reveal the strategies yet. But as a teacher, it is my duty to teach students. So I would be more than happy to reveal some bits of it today. Yes. So we did have a long training session today, and by the end of the session, I'm very confident with teaching the new topics of summarized group discussion as well. And again, credit to our CEO, Ribat. He devised this innovative note-taking strategy. Yes. Now, I know we've been teaching note-taking for other topics like retail lecture before, but this one specifically is designed in such a way that each, sections of the note-taking strategy that we follow in our paper is going to feed into the template very seamlessly. Now, without getting into the details of it, I would say that the note-taking strategy where you draw this quadrant sign in your copy has some additional parts to it, nuances to it that will help you, follow through the template really easily while also meeting the score requirement as easily as possible. Now, I found it very helpful. We will be teaching the note-taking strategies to the students as well, and I'm 100% certain it's going to be easier for them to follow the note-taking strategies as well. So happy days ahead, I would say. So Bhawani, another newly introduced topic that also students are a little bit worried about is respond to situation. So this is the question asked to you after summarized group discussion in the speaking module. You would be asked 2 or 3 questions of respond to situation, and it only contributes to speaking. So the panic regarding respond to situation among students is that you cannot predict what situation you're going to be provided. And honestly speaking, we cannot follow a specific template because the situation could be different. And depending on the situation, we'd have to adapt our answers accordingly. So unfortunately, there is no template. But on the brighter side, we do have structures. We will provide structures to students which can be used to provide a response to the situation. Now, I will have to mention that the structure that we will provide to provide a response for this question will only comprise 50% of your answer. So we will allow for the rest, allow the students to express their own response depending on the situation. So is this something to worry about, you would say?
I wouldn't think so. There would be a certain part where you'd have to work on. But other than that, I think the kind of level that you need to deal with the question is very, I would say, very basic. Maybe there's one thing that you'll have to figure out, and we'll help you out how to figure it out. And then afterwards, everything else would be very basic, I would say. Maybe your level that is required to deal with the question would be A2 level, which most of the students anyways have. So I would think it's not going to be a problem at all.
Now, you did mention A2 level, so would you brief on what its equivalent in PTE score would be?
In PTE it would be around 30 to 42. So
that's relatively.
A lot of us anyways have basic level. So should be all right in the question. Of course, with guidance.
Yes. So the bottom line for this topic would be, we will be providing the structure that you can use to provide 50% of your response. And for the rest of the 50%, you don't have to worry as much because you will just be using your basic English level of proficiency anyway. So I would say with the proper strategies and structure that we will provide during the session, it's definitely going to be easier to nail this task.
Exactly.
And adding to that, it only contributes to speaking.
So the next question that we're going to talk about with regards to the changes is summarized written text, which hasn't changed a lot, but the number of questions, of course, has now come to a solid point saying that it's 2 questions. Before you were not sure whether it's 1 question or 2 questions, but it's now an exact 2 questions that you're going to get. Other than that, what do you think was changed in this question, or have to be worried about this question at all?
The only other change that I would say, apart from the number of questions that we get asked, is the content scoring. The content scoring range previously was 0 to 2. Now it gets to 0 to 4. But then again, it is not much of a concern because we will be addressing this, the changes regarding content while we discuss essay as well. But basically the strategies remain the same. Our trainings will remain the same. So whatever strategies we followed for summarized written text previously, we will be doing the same. It's just that you will be doing it twice. 2 questions.
Definitely for 2 questions.
Yes. Yeah. So moving on to, I would say, one of the most talked about changes in the PTE academic test starting from August 7th, and that's something to do with write essay. Now, I would say one good news would be you will get fixed one number of questions. Back then it used to be 1 to 2, even though getting asked 2 questions of essay was very rare, but now we will certainly be getting only 1 question of essay. Another change I would say is that the content scoring has gone up 0 to 6. Development scoring, development structure and coherence scoring has gone up 0 to 6. And then the general linguistic range also has gone up 0 to 6. Now, where do I start? I get so many comments and so many questions from students regarding this change. Now, I think there's a lot of unnecessary panic going on in the internet about the fact that essay will be contributing a lot more score and it's going to be a lot difficult. And I'm just tired of explaining right now. So would you please tell us more in detail about why it is something not to panic about?
So I don't think it's something that you should be worried about because it's not exactly to make the question harder. And also PSN has mentioned it in one of their official documents that it is not exactly, when you read it, you feel like it's not actually to make the question harder, but to allow more range of responses. So previously, if you gave an answer, if you had a well-written answer, yes, I could have given you 3 marks. But if there was an answer which was not, maybe it was not as good enough to become a 3, but it was not as bad as a 2 as well, and then I would have had to put you into 2. But right now, since the range has increased, maybe I don't have to put you to 2. Maybe I can give you, maybe it doesn't limit you now. So it allows a range of answers to be scored in a varied way. And that's actually a good thing.
Yes.
Because now you could be getting, now many answers will be welcomed in a different, in a varied kind of a way. So I do think it's a very good thing that the marking range has increased. It's not at all to make the question harder, so the panic is unnecessary, I would say.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm very relieved to hear the fact, especially from an academic perspective, from your perspective, that the scoring range, change in scoring range or increase in the scoring range does not necessarily mean that it's going to get harder. Now, I did some maths. Now you have to bear with me for a while, and it actually backs up the argument that you just mentioned. Now, you did mention that increasing the scoring, the range, will allow for more responses, more varied responses, more range of responses, and that's actually true. In addition to that, the maths, the statistics also backs up your argument.
Absolutely.
So previously, the scoring range was from 0 to 3. If you did not meet the criteria for 3, if you did not adequately address the prompt before, your score automatically would be 2. So 2 out of 3, when you get 2 out of 3, you would lose away 40% of your score. That's a great number. Now this time, the highest score is 6.
Yes.
If you don't meet the criteria for 6, you will be getting 5 out of 6.
Yes.
Now mathematically speaking, if you get 5 out of 6, you will only lose away 15% of your score. Now that technically means previously you lost 40% of your score because you didn't meet the maximum requirement. Now you'll only be losing 15% of your score if you don't meet the maximum requirement and you're just below the just right below the maximum requirement. So I don't know how I did this maths, but it helps me clear it out as well. Makes sense. So taking this statistics into consideration, we can clearly see that the new changes is not something to panic about. And the same is the case with the scoring of general linguistic range and development structure and coherent score. The scoring range has definitely increased, but that also means that you've been allowed more variety or more range of responses. So the bottom line I would say is it's not something to panic. In fact, and also mathematically speaking, it might actually be getting easier if you are following the strategies and providing content relevant responses in your essay, which has always been our motto as well.
So I guess this message is also true for the other questions where the scoring range has increased, like describe image, retell lecture, and all the other questions where the content score specifically, which has increased.
Yes.
Now I think we can discuss the changes that happened in the reading section specifically. Reading, write, and fill in the blanks is no longer the same name. It has changed to fill in the blanks drop down, right?
Yes.
That's one of the tiny changes, of course. And it's no longer going to contribute to writing. So what do you feel about this? People are panicking about it again as well.
Yes, well, I have so much to say, but I will start off by saying that I know a lot of students been mentioning it does not contribute to writing anymore, so what's the point? But the fact that it doesn't contribute to writing anymore doesn't mean that it's less important. It's still the most important question for reading.
Exactly.
And the strategies that we follow, the importance that we give to the question, it's still the same. Yes. And same is the case with read aloud. A lot of us say, what's the point of doing read aloud because it doesn't contribute to reading anymore. Yeah. But it still does to the speaking module. Yes. The strategies we use are still the same.
Exactly.
So the students who attended the lecture sessions, let's say 2 weeks ago, whatever they learned about read aloud, whatever they learned about drop down fill in the blanks, they are still useful. They can still use the strategies and implement them in order to get the highest score. Now, of course, the scoring distribution might have changed a little, but reading, writing, fill in the blanks, or should I say reading, drop down, fill in the blanks, is still as important, and it is very important for reading. Read aloud, even though it doesn't contribute to reading anymore, is still important for speaking, and we follow the same strategies.
Yes.
I can also connect that back with write from dictation.
Yes.
Now, write from dictation, still as important. It contributes still to listening and writing.
Yes.
Now it still contributes significantly to both listening and writing. I think I mentioned it twice.
That's okay.
But yeah, so because the scoring distribution has changed slightly, doesn't undermine the importance of these topics. The strategies, the implementation that we do for all of these topics, they still remain the same. Yeah. So all of these panic about, oh, the reading, writing, fill in the blanks is not contributing to writing anymore, what's the point? Read aloud is not contributing to reading anymore, what's the point? I think it's just nonsensical. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think the training would also remain the same way, because we'd always ask you to practice your reading, writing, fill in the blanks, reading, writing, reading, fill in the blanks. No, I mean, the two questions. You anyways have to keep up with it, because it's still important for reading, right?
Yes.
I think you can agree with that, yes.
Yes, I very much do. And I will be addressing these things in the lectures as well. Hopefully you will. But in addition to that, I also have to mention that there has been some minor changes in the number of questions in the reading module. So previously you used to be given 1 to 2 questions of multiple choice, multiple answers, and only 1 to 2 questions of multiple choice, single answers. Yes. Now for both of them, the number of question range has increased. So you might be asked 2 to 3 questions for each of them. Yeah. The overall time I noticed that you are given for the entire section of reading has also slightly decreased. Yeah. Previously it was, I think, 29 to 30 minutes. Now it's gone to 23 to 30 minutes. So that's a minor change that I would say that has happened in the overall time that you provided. But I think this is not something we need to worry about, because we've always been focusing on spending specific amount of time on each topic. Yes. Now, still, the fill in the blanks questions, as I said, still is important, and we've been stressing on spending certain amount of time in those questions because it's more important. So I don't think we have to be really concerned about the fact that the overall time has decreased, because the amount of time that we spend per question still remains kind of similar. Yes.
Okay, so Pemba, leading on to the changes in the listening section, of course, one of the main changes there is with the listening fill in the blanks questions no longer going to contribute to your writing. So what is your take on that?
Okay, now I know it seems like a major change, the fact that listening fill in the blanks, which is called type in fill in the blanks from now, from August 7th, by the way. It seems like a big deal that it does not contribute to writing anymore. But the fact is that the preparation and the strategies, they all remain the same. It still contributes to listening. We still type in the answer, listen to the audio. The strategies, they remain in the same. We still have topics like write from dictation that still contribute to writing. Writing academic essay still contributes to writing. And majority of if I would say all of the strategies, they remain the same. So again, those students who have already attended the intensive lectures 2 weeks ago, they will be following the same exact strategies. We will be teaching the new batch the same exact strategies. Only the change would be the fact that it does not contribute to writing anymore. So I don't think this is something to panic about. Because the strategies are the same, only the writing contribution is not there anymore. We don't need to be too overly concerned about this, I would say. Now, along with that, there are some minor changes in the number of questions.
Yes.
So multiple choice, multiple answer, and multiple choice single answer in listening. You used to be asked, I think, 1 or 2 questions for each of them. Now it has increased to 2 or 3 for both.
So I think that's about it. That's all the changes that we have to talk about with regards to speaking, reading, and listening. So that's not a lot, I hope. So yeah, that's about it. All right, Pemba, so before we wrap everything up, would you be able to summarize the key takeaways of these new changes so that everyone is informed of them?
Of course, Bhawani. I would be more than happy to highlight the key takeaways from our very productive discussion today. So, there are 3 main takeaways from our discussion today. The first takeaway: apart from the introduction of the 2 new topics, the strategies and the importance of the remaining topics still remain the same. Whatever questions were important before, they are still as important after August 7th. Whatever strategies that we suggested before for each of those topics, they still exactly remain the same. The only change would be some topics that used to contribute to 2 modules might only contribute to 1. For example, listening fill in the blanks or type in fill in the blanks used to contribute to listening and writing. But now it will only be contributing to your listening. But that doesn't mean that strategies for listening fill in the blanks will change. They still remain the same. Takeaway number 2. No matter the change in the scoring range, the test is not getting harder. Neither it is getting easier. There is a bit of change in the scoring range, but as me and Bhawani today, we proved it mathematically and academically, the increase in the scoring range does not equal to the level of difficulty of the question. Whatever strategies, again, that we are following for the topics, they still remain the same. It's just that the scoring range has changed. So do not need to panic about this. Highlight number 3. There will be 2 new topics introduced in the speaking module of the PTE test, and that's all you have to prepare for. We will be conducting lecture classes addressing these 2 new topics starting from next week. I'm very excited to be conducting those lectures and hope you are too to be attending them. But wait, before I let you go, I want to reassure you again, please do not panic. Whatever so-called experts are telling you to worry about the new changes, do not panic.